believe this is Amanda Thomas of Oxford University Women's Lightweight Rowing Club on the right-hand side of your picture, rowing in the distinctive dark blue of Oxford. She won the lightweight reserve race in the Coxed 4 at the Henley boat races this year, and she was 4th in championship lightweight double sculls at Bucks Regatta, having learnt to row at King's School, Canterbury. So she knows her stuff. And Alice Bloomer of the University of Leicester Boat Club learnt to row at Leicester University, but only learnt to scull this season. So this was actually be her first ever Henley Women's Regatta, following on from a silver medal at Bucks Regatta. So again, a relative novice to the single sculling discipline. Would you fancy taking on the Henley course in your first year of sculling?
Probably not, to be honest. It's quite a challenging course. We've seen a lot of crews crash, obviously, already. And it's a slightly strange distance. So for a new sculler, perhaps training for a strange distance won't seem as foreign, but at the same time, I mean, it's a challenging course and a challenging race, one-on-one, for the beginning of your career.
Yeah, absolutely. Us scullers and, well, all rowers train for the 2,000 metre discipline, don't they, largely?
Yeah.
And to race 1,500 metres, which is essentially what this Henley Women's Regatta course is, almost feels like you're finishing prematurely. But at the moment, it is Amanda Thomas of Oxford University Women's Lightweight Rowing Club who has about a length on the sculler from University of Leicester. Doing a remarkable job, without wanting to sound condescending, of competing in this, considering she only learnt to scull this season. I have to say, the first season I learnt to scull, I don't think I won anything. I don't think I competed anywhere. I think I'd spent the whole year training, trying to pluck up the courage to compete. The question is now, though, I imagine Amanda has a little bit more experience of side-by-side racing. Will that knowledge and that acumen pay dividends in the second half of the course? Will she have better knowledge of when to push and when to ease off the gas?
She's moving back, though.
Yeah, she definitely is.
That was an impressive push.
Every stroke she's coming back.
Wow.
This looks like a fantastic race.
Almost drawing level now.
This is a massive push. She's come up from being half a length down to nearly level in about 10 strokes. And now we have a real race on our hands as the crews come past the boating area. Great shot of the Henley countryside, stacked out with cars as far as the eye can see, showing the attraction that this women's regatta holds for so many people in the area. I suppose on a beautiful Friday afternoon like this, how better to spend the beginning of your weekend? Forget the World Cup, no one cares about football. It's all about Henley Women's Regatta. And what a fantastic race we have on the course between Oxford University women lightweight Amanda Thomas, even, my apologies, and Alice Bloomer of the University of Leicester. Both scullers are going to have to take the rate up now if they want to prevail. I think actually the Leicester scullers come through. Oh, a bit of a crab there on her stroke side blade. What do you think, Samuel? I think that's Leicester in the lead now.
Yeah, I mean, she seems to be doing an incredible job for her first year of sculling. Perhaps she's using just slightly more raw power than the lightweight sculler. I mean, they're both lightweights, but she just seems to be able to use that short, sharp stroke of hers to generate a lot of power. It's not as pretty, but it seems to be effective.
Well, Jürgen Grobler once famously said to Sir Matthew Pinson, rowing isn't dressage. So I suppose it doesn't always matter how you look. It's about getting down the course, and Alice Bloomer has put in a storming middle part of the course and is looking to round this off with a win. She's taken, well, I suppose from a length down, she's taken 2 lengths out of Amanda of Oxford University Women's Lightweight Rowing Club. Crossing, I'm not sure if they've crossed the line yet, it's hard to tell. Nope, they're coming down towards the finish now. And from being a length down, Alice is in complete control of this race now.
And having to weigh in the morning of the event as a lightweight, it's a great leveler for these scullers. It's more about who wants it the most, who can move the boat the fastest. And clearly, this sculler from Leicester University, that push just showed how much she wanted the race, and she really went for it. And you could physically see her just move straight past when she made that decision. And now she's got a handsome lead.
That's exactly it. We as commentators love the old cliche, they've just got more horsepower. That doesn't stand in lightweight rowing. It's about how you use your horsepower. And I think Alice Bloomer of University of Leicester has crossed the line as the winner. Fantastic race there, beautifully timed, from a relative novice to the sculling discipline. So it just shows, get involved with the sport, and within a year you could be competing and winning at Henley Women's Regatta. Commiserations to Amanda Thomas, spirited competitor. But when we're back to the start, the next race is on the state boats, and this is another heat of the aspirational lightweight singles. It's Cambridge University women on the Berkshire station and Newark Rowing Club on the Buckinghamshire station.
So what can we expect to see from this race then?
Well, you would expect, on purely viewing the clubs alone, perhaps Cambridge to come out on top. But then again, I always say that, Cambridge and Oxford stack their seasons so that they peak in March for the boat races. So quite often, the clubs will stack their seasons so they peak in June for the Henley regattas. So as was proven there, the girl from the University of Leicester timed her race perfectly, Alice Bloomer, and rode down Amanda Thomas of Oxford. So perhaps we could see Newark producing the goods here. Newark, of course, in another little rowing hotbed in the Midlands, quite close to Nottingham. We used to row against the Newark Quad as a junior. Just beat them to a bronze medal at national schools one year, which is still one of my greatest achievements as a junior rower, which perhaps gives you a clue as to the scale of my achievements. And the two crews have left the state boats. Cambridge University women on the right-hand side of your shot and Newark on the left-hand side of your shot. Definitely a better start from Newark there.
Some steering issues going on here. Umpire waving the white flag. Appears as though the sculler from Newark is washing down the sculler from Cambridge University. Although it's not entirely Newark's fault.
Well, you have to say, at this stage of the race, I don't think any amount of washing down conversion of the two crews is going to make an awful lot of difference, because to be leading by clear water coming out of Temple Island, it's going to take quite the effort for the sculler from Cambridge to come back from this one.
As we saw in the last race though, anything can happen in this lightweight women's single scull. Must be said though, the long, smoother style from the Newark sculler is really helping her move away.
But she hasn't moved away anymore.
Yeah.
I think the sculler from Cambridge has put a stop on that surge and is hanging on. We saw a remarkable reversal of fortune in the last race, and this race is pretty much the same as the previous at this stage. It's a gladiatorial contest, isn't it? So much riding on your ability to deal with pressure, deal with setback, in a single sculler. You've got no one else around you to depend on.
You can't question your pacing or yourself for a moment in these races.
No, you have to believe you've got the fitness to get to the end. And I imagine, as you say, Samuel, most of these scullers will have the ability to get to the finish in one piece because they train for 500 metres longer than this.
This is arguably the hardest point in the race. You haven't quite got the finish line in your grasp, but your legs will be full of lactic acid. Everything's going to be hurting.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll keep a close eye on oh. I do believe the sculler from Cambridge has rode through Newark. Could be totally wrong on that, but from our cameras, she looks like she's ahead. So keep an eye on that, because I believe the next heat of the aspirational lightweight singles has started between Abingdon Rowing Club on the Berkshire station and Imperial College on the Buckinghamshire station. But it would be worth just having a look at the race between Cambridge and Newark, just to have a glance at who's winning that one. But a good race underway in the third heat between Abingdon on the right-hand side of your picture there, or the top of your picture, and Imperial College, a pretty well-known name on the rowing circuit on the bottom of your picture. That lovely drone shot. Yeah. Top right-hand corner of your picture, ladies and gentlemen. The sculler from Cambridge. I don't quite know what would have happened to the girl from Newark.
I mean, we were saying earlier,
I believe it's Lucy Harris. My apologies. Lucy Harris is from Cambridge has absolutely devastated this race. What could have happened?
I mean, ignoring any possible collision with the boom, I suppose just the foreign distance and just, I mean, I can't imagine how that gap could have opened up so quickly. But
Don't like
I mean,
to
it's
speculate.
quite incredible.
It's amazing. I imagine there'll have been something that have happened to the Newark sculler, because that's not a normal distance to take out of your opposition in the middle of the race. But that race looks like it's done and dusted, and it'll be Lucy Harris of Cambridge progressing through. So let's look back at what is quite an intriguing encounter between Abingdon Rowing Club on the Berkshire station and Imperial College on the Buckinghamshire station.
Some exciting racing going on between the sculler from Abingdon and sculler from Imperial College.
Yeah, I think the athlete from Imperial was actually down at the beginning of this race, but has taken the lead now.
Some great examples of how you should pace a race, the negative split school of thought, and also just going out hard as well.
So we've now got two races on the course, and the last heat of the aspirational lightweight singles is Oxford University Women's Lightweight on the Berkshire station and the City of Oxford on the Buckinghamshire station. And it's Anna Lois Hoff from Oxford, a trialist for Oxford Lightweights in 2018. It's her first season of serious rowing. Perhaps that is showing a little bit here, because the City of Oxford sculler has a commanding lead as they come past us at the barrier. believe it's Caitlin Armstrong of the City of Oxford. Sorry, we don't have first names on our sheet, so we're having to trawl the internet when we don't have bios produced by the crews. I believe it's Caitlin Armstrong up against Anna Lois Hoff. And at the moment, the surname is proving indicative of this race. Caitlin Armstrong with a substantial lead over Hoff of Oxford University Women's Lightweight Boat Club. You have to counter that, of course, Anna Lois only started really rowing properly this season. So this is a learning curve for her, and a steep one at that. Perhaps too steep to get the better of on this occasion. Just some results for the last couple of heats of the aspirational lightweight singles. The first of these batch was a win for Leicester University Boat Club by 2.5 lengths over Oxford University Women, and that remarkable turnaround, and perhaps an even more remarkable turnaround. The second heat was a win for Cambridge University Women's Boat Club. The verdict easily over Newark Rowing Club, and having watched Newark lead Cambridge until the halfway point, that result is staggering. So we've got another race on the course. We're moving on to fours now. This is a heat of the Championship Coxless Fours. Yale University B on the Berkshire Station, and Aveyron Grenoble of France on the Buckinghamshire Station. And Yale, oh wow, that is a very tidy crew. It's always nice to hear that finish, isn't it, Samuel, coming out together?
Yeah. Lovely painted boat as well from Hudson.
Yeah, I think the French are no slouches themselves, but today that Yale crew devastating.
I mean, it's a long way to come. You gotta think you have a good chance of winning, but at the same time, France.
Well, they just hopped across the channel, haven't they? It's
I
fine.
mean,
Yeah. All in a day's work.
Quite a competitive heat there.
Yeah, Yale looking very, very good, and just keep an eye on the single sculls as they come down the course. It's Caitlin Armstrong of the City of Oxford cruising away. We're back to the fours again, and Yale, this race is pretty much decided as well. They've moved out into the middle of the course a little bit, just perhaps to ensure that there's no chance of a comeback from the girls from France on the Buckinghamshire Station, but I think there's little hope of that at this stage. Yale with not only more horsepower on board, but I actually think rowing a little bit better than Aveyron Grenoble of France. You might be able to tell I am not French. I don't pretend to be. So my pronunciation might be poor. But just watching that Yale crew on the top right-hand side of your shot. Race 69 is also underway. A heat of the aspirational doubles. Edinburgh University Strathclyde Park Composite on the Berkshire Station, and Thames Rowing Club A on the Buckinghamshire Station. Now this composite is made up of Edinburgh and Strathclyde Park, and Perry of Strathclyde she's on the World Class Start programme, and she won the B final of the Bucks Regatta in the women's intermediate singles, and she's also Lithuanian, part Lithuanian, so a bit of international pedigree. Sophie from Edinburgh learnt to row at Edinburgh in 2015 and won the first ever women's beginner quads event at Bucks Regatta in 2016. But as it stands, all of that is rendered sort of irrelevant, because Thames Rowing Club in control at the moment. And not really a surprise to see that, is it, Samuel? Thames Rowing Club, every time they boat a crew, they seem to win.
Yeah, I mean, they were down on the stretch in Marlow with their B8 at least, just getting in some last minute practice.
Yeah, Thames just chugging it along there on the bottom of your picture. Every stroke just inching out a little bit more. They'll be looking to break clear of the Scottish composite if they can in the second half of this race. But they look calm, don't they? Not under any huge amount of pressure at the moment. Trying to make sure they measure this one right. We've already seen a couple of scullers come unstuck.
Almost a crab there from the Scottish boat, looked like.
I suppose that's the other thing, is that a composite, they probably haven't had a lot of time rowing together unless they've been competing in that outfit all season. So there can be little discrepancies in the timing, and little issues with crew coherency. But I would counter that drone shot, demonstrating this race is by no means run. And actually, the Scottish composite looked to be edging back, stroke by stroke. We will keep a close eye on that because there's only about a third of a length in it. As we move back to the start for aspirational doubles, Drexel University on the Berkshire station and Sheffield University on the Buckinghamshire station. Drexel across from the USA. They brought quite a contingent with them this weekend, and they're on the right hand side of your photo or of your shot there. But at the moment it is Sheffield University who have the lead. Quite a good lead at that. Keep your eyes on the right hand side of your shot there, because the heat between the Scottish composite and Thames Rowing Club is not over yet. And after eating into that length lead that Thames had established, I think the Scottish crew, Edinburgh and Strathclyde, have just stagnated a little bit. They haven't managed to push back on that margin anymore. So keep your eyes on that. That race could change. It's balanced finely at this stage. Moving back down the course, quite literally with the drone, we can see the second heat, Drexel and Sheffield University. Now, I do wonder here, Samuel, we've seen quite a lot of crews coming out of the Buckinghamshire station in the lead in the opening exchanges, and then that getting reversed in the middle of the course. I wonder.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell whether the conditions are affecting the racing at the moment. Perhaps in the opening section, the crowd support is negligible on either side, but as they come down towards the enclosures, as the cheering gets louder for the Berkshire crew, maybe they just get faster, and we may be seeing that with the Drexel Dragons here as they inch up stroke by stroke.
Yeah, absolutely. They have clawed back what looked like an insurmountable deficit in the opening exchanges. And if we look, actually I'm just having a look back at the race preceding this one, which was between the Scottish Composite and Thames Rowing Club, and that's just coming into the final stages. Thames still in the lead. And actually I think they've moved out a little bit on the girls from Scotland. Yeah, Thames crossing the line, and they have won that race, barring any protests from either of the crews. So it was a win for Thames. They held off the stern attentions of the Edinburgh Strathclyde Park crew. So we'll return to Drexel against Sheffield University. As you say, the Drexel Dragons proving pretty ferocious in their nature.
Yeah.
Here we go. Now we've got a race on our hands. Two crews neck and neck. We can hear the screams from here. Vociferous support. But as you made the point, the bank actually curves away in the middle of the course, so for them to be heard from there takes some real shouting. But it looks like Drexel, right there on the left of your picture, are just moving through Sheffield now. And we've seen it again. Another reverse. The Bucks crew out in the lead in the beginning, but the Berkshire crew coming through at the end. Could well be a quirk of the draw. Could be a case of people just pacing it. It makes for great racing for us. A good spectacle. It means you can never guess what's going to happen next. And indeed, Drexel here, just looking a bit more smooth. A bit more of a refined stroke. And they've got a length. That's a very impressive push in the middle of the course.
Psychologically, it's hugely damaging to see a crew that rows through you. You seem to assume that they have more left in the tank if they're able to move through you.
Well, certainly an extra gear here, as demonstrated. Sheffield University perhaps front-loading this race. And it worked up until about halfway. But these things can go spectacularly wrong. So here we go, coming up to the line. It is Drexel University leading this one. So we'll move back up to the start for a third heat of the aspirational double sculls. A Birmingham Worcester University composite on the Berkshire station. Two universities in close proximity to each other. And KSRV Nord of Holland on the Buckinghamshire station. And it is the crew on the Buckinghamshire station there. Just about, the barrel's just about to tickle the bottom of your Yeah, it is the crew on the Buck station. KSRV Nord, who are leading this one. Oh, and there's been a bit of interaction with the booms there for the Birmingham Worcester University composite. That's going to slow them down even more. That's going to make this challenge even harder. We actually saw a Nord crew crash out a little earlier. It doesn't look like there's a lot of danger of it happening to this boat. Sculling well.
Quite far across, I'd say. But I mean, if you're that far ahead already, then I can't see much dirty water being sent towards the Birmingham Worcester composite.
Yeah, I would say the impact on the race is negligible. I like the way they stood up at the finish, the Dutch. Not wasting any energy, leaning back any further than they need to. Nice and tall, engaging that core and recycling the hand speed around the back end to make sure they're set up for the next stroke immediately after they've taken the preceding one. It's also very nice on the eye.
Yeah.
And most importantly of all, moves the boat quickly. Which is, I assume, what this Nord crew are most concerned about as they come down the course. Leading quite comfortably here. And winding down in respect of that.
I think that more controlled position at the finish allows them to just take more time getting the blade out. It seems more calm, whereas if you're too far back, your core's engaged slightly too much.
Absolutely.
You might struggle to move your hands away as fast.
So looking back at the start, race 72 now on the course. The last of this batch of aspirational doubles, Worcester Rowing Club on the Berkshire station and Reading University Boat Club A on the Buckinghamshire station. Obviously Reading, who a couple of years ago made the decision to become an all-sculling university. I think the only all-sculling university in the country. Let's see if that's paying dividends for them. This looks like a pretty well-matched race. Reading quite far over. Little look there from their bow girl. Because at the moment, looks to me like Worcester have the lead. And that is a very good Worcester crew indeed. Sculling very, very well. Catching the boat out front. Sending it on, not overcommitting at either end, which is nice to see. Just to remind you the results of the first two of this batch. There was a win for Thames Rowing Club by a length. And then a win for Drexel University by 2 lengths over Sheffield University Rowing Club. Just waiting for the results to be confirmed for the previous race. But at the moment, on your screen it's Worcester and Reading, and it is Worcester in control with a length of clear water.
And it appears as though the Worcester Rowing Club double just maintaining their lead of around a length of clear water over the Reading University double. Both rowing very nice though. Nice relaxed style, particularly from these women from Worcester Rowing Club. Sending the boat away.
Yeah, they certainly don't appear to be in any immediate danger. Although, they haven't quite got the lead that they had earlier in the race. That might be in part due to their relaxation in the middle of the course, thinking they had this one wrapped up. So the previous race was a win for KSRV Nord by 3 lengths over the Birmingham Worcester University Composite. And at the moment, on your screens, you can see it closest to your picture. Worcester Rowing Club trying to make amends here by progressing a crew from the Midlands through. It looks like they're going to achieve that, barring any late issues.
And I think in terms of technique throughout the race, I think if you're ahead early on, you can end up rowing slightly more efficiently, as you have the confidence that you're doing things right. Whereas it seems to me as though this Reading crew, having now found themselves behind in this race, maybe lost a little bit of their lean back, rowing slightly more aggressively, because you feel that desperation and the need to get ahead.
Absolutely, and keeping one eye on that race, just reaching its closing stages. On the top right-hand side of your picture, we've got our first of the second batch of the aspirational lightweight singles. It's Anna Shreves of St Neots Rowing Club on the Berkshire station, and Victoria Norton of Reading University Boat Club. So back-to-back Reading University representation on the Buckinghamshire station.